Want to get into the war?
Monuments, man.
Time to put a team together and do our best to protect buildings, bridges, and art before the Nazis destroy everything.
How many men? 6. Jesus.
Well, with you at 7.
That's much better.
So, if I were to tell you that I was going to make a World War II movie, what would you think? You'd probably be like, fuck yeah, I haven't seen one of those since, like, shit, Band of Brothers, which I understand that was a miniseries, but, last one I can remember is, like, Saving Private Ryan, it's been a while, or Letters to Iwo Jima. Like, man, it's been a while. Whew, I can't wait. Alright, but there's a catch. It's only, it's going to be a World War II movie, but it's going to have a bunch of older actors that really don't fight the Nazis too much, and they're looking for art. So, yeah. And that's kind of how my entire thoughts about this. So this is based off of true, I guess, events. Like, apparently we actually did this, which I'm amazed. But it was the 40s. We were a crazy young country that, like, oh, let's send really older gentlemen to their war. For art. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not some hatist on art. I don't hate art. And it's something they even bring up in this movie. And something that, I was just quite amazed that anyone would sacrifice their life for art. But they make a very good point in this movie. I will give it that. So, basically the premise to this movie is these guys are sent in to help this little platoon of about like 8 soldiers or I guess I should say 7 soldiers are sent into Germany or I guess France to steal the stolen art from the Nazis, because the Nazis stole a bunch of art, and also to, kind of try to tell the military, hey, you shouldn't blow up that church because, that has a lot of valuable culture in there, and if you blow it up, it's just gone forever. That's the entire theme of this movie. There's some problems I have with this plot. Like, the beginning is fine. And honestly, all the stuff with the soldiers of George Clooney, Bill Murray, everything that every scene they're in is actually worth a damn. It's all the shit Cate Blanchett's in. Cause I'm sorry, Cate Blanchett could have been written out of this entire movie, and it would have not done anything but made the pacing a little bit more smooth. I really felt like the pacing was thrown off every time she's been shown. And they really, it's really hard to explain this movie sometimes. So, from what I get at, these guys, they don't really see a lot of combat, yet they have to go to the front line. Now, from my knowledge of history, the front line was pretty fucking bloody, so they apparently weren't at the front line. That's for sure. And the really weird thing that kind of threw me off, I didn't even know until I was going to the theater to see this, was this movie was PG-13. And this is probably one of the few PG-13 movies that are, World War II movies. Because usually when you see a World War II movie, it's like blood, gore. They're really trying to focus on these characters. It's supposed to be kind of a lighthearted movie. And that's really what they're trying to go with. And I really think they failed, not at the lightheartedness, because they really do have a lightheartedness, but certain characters, I'm not saying which ones, but certain ones do get killed off. And, honestly, the characters get over it pretty damn quick. Like, this guy they've been spending so much time with, just, he gets killed, and they're just kind of like, man, that really sucks. But let's go get the art, though. That's what's important. Oh, we're making jokes now and having, and it's just kind of like, oh my God. You guys are 7 guys total. You think you'd be a pretty close-knit group, and whatever. This was directed by George Clooney himself, which, everyone knows what, George Clooney, Batman with nipples. I know, I have to pick one of his worst roles he's done to be like, oh yeah, it's Batman with nipples. He has only directed a few things. The Ides of March, Leatherheads, that was his biggest one that he did back in 2008. He's not a bad director, and honestly, I think he does a pretty fine, I don't feel like he did anything wrong with this. He also was on the screenplay of this. This is really just kind of George Clooney's movie in a way. And it is, I've been seeing comparisons to this being like an Ocean's 11 set in World War II. And I say, yes, but no. Because you're like, well, they all have this particular set of skills. they all seem like they have the same set of skills, and that's being able to recognize art. It's not like, one's a good gunfighter, or one's a good, or one can, they all just can identify art, which is supposed to be what they can do, but, it's quite amazing, though, that they just send these guys in with no training and no, people to help them out, that's just kind of them on their own going through the battles, without anybody, without any couple soldiers, really helping them out, making sure they don't make the stupid mistakes that get them killed, George Clooney, he's one of the main, no one really hogs the spotlight in this, which I can really respect. So it's not like this movie's about George Clooney. He is kind of one of the more main guys, but he is Frank Stokes. George Clooney does a fine job in this. He kind of is the one that, whenever you think when you're watching this movie, why would they do this? He's kind of the one trying to explain why they would do it. He's the one, this meant a lot to us, and of course we're going to do this, and, he's the one kind of doing the explanation, and you sit there and say, I can kind of see their point. Matt Damon, he is in this. He plays James Granger. His character for the first half of the film is with Cate Blanchett. So honestly, he could have had his whole part rewritten. Because really his part in the film for the longest time is just kind of, oh my god. And once he finally gets with the other boys, then it's just like, hey, welcome Matt Damon, welcome to join the movie. What's supposed to be happening here? Bill Murray, he is Richard Campbell. He's funny because the entire time he's messing with, what's his face? Bob Balaban. Can't even tell you where he's from, but he's one of the other guys. I have never seen him before, and he's in it, but he's messing with him, making short jokes all the whole time. And he's Bill Murray. He's funny as hell in this. Even with he doesn't have a major role, but he's still funny. And even he gets kind of a little heartfelt moment where I was just like, oh, that's really sad. You got Cate Blanchett, who was Claire Simon. I don't know. Her character is fucking useless in this movie. I really did not like her in this movie. She's not only, she plays this, she's French, and she's just playing this French bitch the entire time. You can kind of see where she's coming out with oh, I don't want you Americans taking the art for yourselves, blah. And you just want to grab her by the arms. It's like, you dumb son of a bitch, we're here to help you. What the hell? And then her parts are just so slow and drawn out, and you're just like, oh. And she really started getting on my nerves. And being that she's through about, I want to say, a little over a third of this movie is with her, I rolled my eyes after a while. I was like, I'm so sick and tired of her character. I have nothing against Cate Blanchett. She's a fine actress, but this role is such a shitty role. Oh, God. You got John Goodman, who was Walter Garfield. John Goodman, he's alright. I've seen him in better roles. But, for John Goodman, he doesn't do too bad. And then you got Jean, foreign name, Dujardin, I can't even. And he plays Jean-Claude Claremont. Yeah, see, I can actually pronounce that one. He's the French artist that comes and joins them as well. And so that's basically all of them they got going on. They all do a fine job. There's, like I said, Cate Blanchett, she doesn't do anything wrong. She was probably just doing exactly how she's written. But I really feel like, that scene could have been cut out. And it really should have focused on them and the art. Them and the conflicts in the art, because that's where the movie was actually interesting. But when they're in France just dicking around, having her and Matt Damon having dinner, I could not fucking care less about that. I can't see any audience caring less about that. But it really drug down the film. And then ultimately though, I don't give a fuck about art. So, the overall conflict of this, we gotta protect the art, I'm just kind of like, whether they fail or, succeed, I could not care less. Honestly, I just don't care. And, I don't know, maybe it's just me being a jaded, bad American guy, or just oh, you don't understand art. I really don't. I never said I do. I understand film art. I understand gaming art. I understand the media art that I am into. But just, this painting of a dude, this is art. I'm like, no, that's a painting of a dude. Well, I could say, yes, I can't paint worth a shit, and I say that person does have talent, and it probably wasn't worth as much as you say it's worth. It's only worth if someone's willing to pay that, so. Anyways, yeah, that is a majority of how I feel. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. And then I'm being generous here. It's, I give it an average. It's an average movie. I didn't hate it, but I didn't go out saying, like, yes! Like I said, there's a lot of it that could be cut out. And it does not need to be a long movie. It's a movie, it's just a fun, it could be like the comedy version of The Dirty Dozen, if it could be, in a way. But instead, it's just, they have, like I said, they could have cut out a lot of shit in this. And they probably could have added more scenes with, like, Bill Murray, John Goodman, and more about these soldiers. They could have added something about these guys and what they're going through and really who they are, because I didn't feel like there was any characterization really with most of them as it was. I don't know. So I'm giving this a 3 out of 5, me being generous. So, anyways, folks, whether you agree, disagree, matters not. I want you to let us know what you think. Now, if you want me to comment back, I would not put it in YouTube, because I will not comment back on YouTube. But you can find our Facebook page, Bloody Screen Podcast, and we will all get back to you. Or email us at bloodyscreenpodcast@gmail.com, or you can visit our website in the forums, bloodyscreenpod.com. We have a forum section. Tell us what you think. Just say what review it was. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about this movie. If I missed something about this movie that maybe you caught on to, I want to know. But as of right now, I give it a 3 out of 5. Love to talk to you about it. But that is everybody. Good night.